Hello, my name is Miriam Valcin, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Perry Hadima. I am conducting this interview to get a better understanding of Mr. Hadima's cultural backgrounds. State your name and your country of origin.
My name is Perry Hadima, and I'm from Nigeria.
All right, Perry, why did you settle in Naples, and how long have you been in the U.S.?
Well, I settled in Naples in November 2012. That's about 22 months ago. And I actually came to the United States to further my education. I wanted to be like a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot actually, which I actually accomplished.
Yeah. What is the worst thing about living in the United States?
The worst. I think is there's a lot of like illusions, things that I actually thought were here, were not actually here. Yeah, exactly. So you have, like, for example, like I was very, like a lot of Hollywood movies are come on back home, so that's actually your vision of how America is.
Yeah.
You actually think it's what you see on TV.
But in actuality, it wasn't.
No, not.
What would you say is the best thing about living in the United States?
I think, to me, the best thing is that hard work counts. If you're very hardworking, it counts a lot. I think there's a lot of accomplishment, like when you work towards something. When you have like a goal and you really work towards it. I think in America, it's a country where you can accomplish most of that thing. It's kind of like having like this elder brother that just takes care of you, like in some type of way. But
so would you say it's easier to accomplish things here versus back in Nigeria?
Well, for a dedicated person, yes, because back in Nigeria, I think you had to be in some kind of opportunities, whereby a nice family background, you had to stay out of the current wars, the terrorism, so you had to have a good life. You basically had to be lucky to actually succeed, and it was a country where that perspective, came out from. While like here, you know, there's a lot of hard work, especially like here in Naples, where I've been, like, there's a lot of like the hard work is the order of the day. Everybody tells you work hard, so.
What does culture mean to you, and what is your cultural background?
Culture is something very deep to me, because I'm a traditional family. I grew up in a traditional family, and we grew up under the Hausa, where we speak Hausa. That's the name of the background, which I was raised under. But my tribe is called Kilba, so I was raised with a cultural background of a Hausa person, which is in the northern Nigeria. I was raised, and it's very similar to what you have in the Middle East.
So is that like a subculture, Hausa or something?
No, it's a language actually. It's a language, and they practice like it was from the migration of Arabs down to Africa, and so that was the culture. So we're very related with the Arabs in our culture, and also in the religion, because there's a lot of Islam practiced among such kind of language. But however, I also have like a language, which means like a tribe, because we have a lingua franca, which is English. We have Hausa which is the language of my region, and I also have a tribe, which is Kilba. That's what basically I speak back home with my parents.
Okay. Do you believe young people today in America have a sense of culture? Why or why not?
Compared to where I'm from and where I am here, I think there's a huge difference in cultural perspective. There's an emphasis on tradition back where you're from, on how to get married, on how to do basically everything. You need to get like an education, you need to be respectful, like how we treat with our elders, which is very different in America, because America is a society that emphasizes freedom and tolerance, which you don't find a lot of that back home.
So back home, everything's like a specific kind of way.
Yeah, it's very traditional. Yeah, it's very traditional. So here, I think there's a lot of like tolerance in the cultures, which I think it goes. I think there are a lot of like extremities to it, which I think there are a lot of like negativities, but also there are also like advantages of such kind of things too. But it's been difficult like adopting to the American tradition because it feels like you don't have a culture anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's like giving a huge part of your culture away.
So is it hard to try to keep your own cultural beliefs and things living here?
Well, living in America, like I said, there's freedom. So keeping your cultural beliefs. I'm a Christian actually, so keeping your cultural beliefs in a country like this, it's not hard. It's actually with the diverse people that you meet and trying to like keep those things with them. You see, that's where you have like a lot of confusion because you have a lot of mismatches with different cultures and beliefs and different misunderstandings, which you get to like, I just like offend people without even knowing really much, and I'll actually just take it
How
as a
so?
joke.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, I do. Like there are like words like we have pidgin English in Nigeria, and a lot of words in your English which are actually like which are vulgar are actually legal in that language.
Yeah.
So when talking to somebody like the first time you see like to me I sounded proper because I was speaking my pidgin English, but I sounded really vulgar to such kind of person, and you know like so things like that you offend people without even knowing is
Must be hard.
yeah it's kind of explaining that.
Have you ever felt excluded based on your gender or your culture?
Well, based on culture, yes, not based on gender.
How so?
Because for festivals, I think there are like cultures, there are traditions that occur in America which we in Africa have no idea about, like Halloween. If I was to jump into a Halloween party, like the first time I had no idea, and like you know everybody was so that the exclusion was so much there because I was actually treated different, like because nobody understood what was going on like there, and of course I knew it was just Halloween and you know, people dressing like animals and but that has been like I think culturally like there's a lot of cultural difference, and I think that would be like the hugest. I think that would be the way I've felt like separated from people culturally.
What do you miss the most about Nigeria?
First, food.
Don't find much Nigerian food here.
No, I actually haven't found a Nigerian store yet.
No.
Yeah. I think you miss traditions. There we have a lot of like traditional activities. Things are more natural there. Very, very more natural. Like you have hand-sewn clothes. You have people going to the farm. You know, things are. It makes you feel more. You interact more with human beings.
Yes.
Most of your neighbors are actually human beings and not computers. You don't come like, you know, you don't punch in numbers in gated communities or garage doors. You know, you actually say hi to people, and so like those are things that you don't find in America.
More interaction.
Yeah, you just wave your neighbor and say hi, bye, and you know that is it. You're the guy next door. That's in my American term.
What would you say is a common misconception about people of your culture?
Is that they're terrorists. I think that's the biggest misconception. Yeah.
Terrorists.
For northern Nigeria, you're looked upon as an ignorant terrorist or a religious extremist. Even in Nigeria, we tend to have people who look at us like that. So yeah, I think it's really difficult, and now there's on the verge of like so much is insurgencies going on and terrorism, and there's so much of these activities that just put your name into the mud automatically from the stereotypes that we get. So I think that's the biggest issue. Like they look at us as religious extremists and terrorists, and they also see us as ignorant people. Like we don't know anything that is.
Have you ever experienced any of those misconceptions personally?
Yes, I've been given that vibe of actually that feeling of
How did that make you feel?
Well, I actually look at people like that as being very ignorant, because if somebody read that much or understood where I was coming from, he wouldn't address me in such kind of way, because exactly like a lot of things that also go on like in America have origins which came from from Africa, which people like that have no understanding. Like, so.
What is considered most disrespectful in your culture?
Most disrespectful. Wow, that's we have a lot of disrespectful rules. We have rules of
Yeah.
it's
We'll do like top 3. Top 3.
Okay, I think the easiest you can do as a non-cultural person is waving your whole fingers at somebody. It's very abusive, like putting up the middle finger at somebody in America.
Oh,
is
wow.
that equivalent?
So waving like this?
No, like just opening your 5 fingers like this. Yeah, and it looks. That is very.
What does that mean?
offensive.
What would someone think of that if you did that to
That
me?
you were like insulting his mother or like something. So yeah, it gets really intense sometimes. Some people take that personally. Yeah. So.
Can you think of any others?
Culturally, like disrespect. Like in America, I think I see that happen a lot. We don't argue with our elders so much, especially with a very wise elder. So, which I think in America, you know, like the freedom, we can point fingers at elders, and I think when you see, I think in my head, I'm just like, oh, if I see somebody doing that, that person's gonna help. That's like, it's so, you know, it's a new concept of living, of somebody trying to defend himself, of an elder trying to correct the person, and I think being disrespectful, it's a huge. Being disrespectful is something that is really that people take
frowned upon.
Yeah, they take respect, cultural respect, religious respect. Like people value respect, and culture like that.
What are some of your family customs and traditions?
Well, my family,
What are some of the practices that you take part in or have taken part in?
in the Hausa culture, because I grew up festivals, agricultural festivals, and like that.
What are the gender roles in your culture and in your family?
Generals.
Like, is there a head of household? Is
Yeah.
the man in charge of the
Yeah,
house?
the man
Or
is-
the woman? Is it equal?
No, there's no much of being equal with what you're talking about. Yeah. We have the man is actually seen as the main provider. He's seen as the person. He's seen as the person of the house, the person whose name like surrounds the house. The woman is actually seen as a backbone too, because she has to raise these kids while the man like is providing all this. So I think it's a two-way situation, but the man makes the ultimate decisions. Most everything is like she submits to him. Like that's how our culture is. And basically from the like in northern Nigeria, we have also the Islamic culture, which allows the marriage of up to 4 wives. So you also have roles like that, whereby the man is also in charge of a very huge family, which is polygamous and has to control everything. So I think the man is ultimately in charge of defending his family, his property, and in control. But the woman, and like she's more into like the household work, being like cleaning, food. There's no much of female education like emphasized in my part of the country, although it's growing, and you find a lot of like educated women. But I think it's also more looked on upon the man to be the breadwinner of the family.
All right, and for the last question, do you have any religious beliefs that you used to practice in Nigeria, or that your family still practices now or believes in?
Yeah, we, like I said, I grew up as a Christian, but also I grew up in northern Nigeria, so I grew up celebrating other beliefs. Like we celebrate the Eid al-Fitr.
What is that?
And it's a Muslim celebration for the end of Ramadan, when they go through the fasting period, and so we call it Salah in Nigeria, the Salah celebration. We actually have a public holiday, so I grew up celebrating that, and actually it's actually part of me. Even as a Christian, I still like keep up with that, because I have a lot of Muslim friends, and I keep up with a lot of that. We celebrate Christmas, Easter. We have we have our traditional celebrations. That's from traditions. So I think
Would you say you believe in multiple religions?
No.
Or you practice multiple
No,
religions?
no. I don't practice multiple religions. I'm solely a Christian. But I actually grew up around diverse cultures and religions, of which I had to live among those people, actually learn how to talk like them, speak like them, communicate like them. So basically, I have the same. We I really don't know the word to put it, but yeah, we're basically on the same page with them. Like when we talk, you know, like we don't really get offended because we understand the exchange of culture. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hadim, for the interview.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.